Oh, here we go. Here we go. We welcome in the two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden and former Ohio State running back Beanie Wells. Beanie, oh my goodness.
Man.
All I got to say right now is Jack Sawyer to the rescue.
Oh, amazing performance by him in that defensive line. Look, this wasn't a pretty game by any stretch of imagination. There were so many ebbs and flows of this game. It went in so many different directions, so many momentum shifts, but championship teams find a way to get it done and win. And Ohio State just went out and did that. I couldn't be prouder of these guys. I mean, the coaching staff, getting these guys to buy in. Let's not forget where we were just about a month ago mentally. I think all of Buckeye Nation, the fans, the coaching staff, the players, were just at a standstill in shock about how everything transpired after the Michigan game. This team just reinvented themselves and had an awakening. Masterful performance down the stretch, getting it done when it mattered most. Hats off to Jack Sawyer and this defense.
I want to give Bryant McFadden his flowers right now because before this game, we had the pregame show. His impact player of the game on defense for Ohio State, Captain Jack. 3rd and goal, pass breakup. 4th and goal, strip sack, scoop and score, touchdown natty. You know ball. Beanie knows ball, but you know ball right there on the defensive side. Like, you called that as if you saw into the future and said Jack Sawyer's going to make a play.
At that time, it was a 5-star moment, right? And I needed a 5-star player to show up. And me, Hakeem, we're watching this game together. When you look at where Texas was, where the football was, I said, Jack, it's your time. Because if you look at Beanie, how the game started, JT jumped out and was balling. Then he kind of got hampered a little bit with that ankle injury, slowed him down. But he kind of got things rolling, playing on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, you know, getting sacks on Quinn Ewers. I think he had 1.5 sacks in the first quarter. But you look at Jack, he was pretty quiet. At that moment, it's a 5-star moment. 5-star players got to show up in those opportunities. And you talked about the 3rd down deflection, was able to create penetration. And then, of course, the 4th down, just pure speed, was able to bend the corner. Not only get a sack, forced fumble, he got a recovery, and he got a touchdown. I mean, that's the ultimate, hat trick, to say the least. And that's who he's been the entire season. And that's why this team has done what they've done, especially on the defensive side, because he is the ultimate leader. He is a guy that an NFL organization will fall in love with because he's a quality player on and off the football field. And you talk about being the ultimate captain. I don't know if there's a better captain in college football than Captain Jack Sawyer.
This is their identity, though, Beanie. This is what is different about Ohio State is their defense. They allowed 12 points per game this season, best in FBS. They allow 14 in this game. This is the separation between the championship level teams. And I know Notre Dame led FBS in takeaways, so this is going to be an absolute battle in the national championship. But when you look at Ohio State and the Jim Knowles-led defense, the pressure, Sonny Styles was all over the field, Beanie. I mean, he was the unsung hero of this game. He had 9-some tackles and a sack.
I mean, he was incredible. Just this entire defense of game plan was masterful, just figuring out ways to get guys in position and to step up when it matters most. And I think that's the critical thing. When you go back into that 3rd down situation to where you got Caleb Downs figuring out a way to shoot the gap, forcing the running back to go outside and slowing him up there and getting a tackle for loss. Incredible play by this football team. Everybody wanted to know, how would Ohio State respond being in this situation if they got into a dogfight? We knew they could be front runners. When they get out to these early starts, they can kind of bury you early. But how would they be in a situation where you're in a dogfight in the phone booth? Are you going to respond? Today, they proved that they will be able to respond and that they can win a championship. And if they continue this play, they'll be hoisted a national championship trophy at the end of the year come next week.
And they won this game, and I'm surprised that I'm even telling you this. Jeremiah Smith had 1 catch. If I had told both of you before this game that Jeremiah Smith would have 1 catch and they still won, you probably said, yeah, the other guys stepped up. I don't know that you would have said it was the defense that carried him and Will Howard's legs. Because I'm sitting here, Jeremiah Smith, 1 catch and they still won? Well, I say you're crazy.
See, that's the thing. That's why this is the most talented team in college football, because their success is not predicated on 1 player, right? To your point, Jeremiah Smith, 1 reception for 3 yards. Will Howard still threw for almost 300 yards. And he had some ebbs and flows in this ball game. Let's look at the pro prospects, right, offensively, just at the skill position. Judkins, NFL player. Henderson, NFL player. Tate, NFL player. Smith, NFL player. Ibuka, NFL player. Most defenses at best may have 3 or 4 NFL guys. You're talking about, I just named, 5 guys that are legit NFL players. And we're talking about anywhere from rounds 1 to 3. That's great talent, and they do things the right way. So and the scary part about this Ohio State win, Beanie, is that they were sloppy on offense. We're talking about 9 penalties. The majority of those penalties was on offensive plays that hampered drives. And they still find a way to not just cover the spread. They won by 14 points.
It's
14 points.
It's incredible.
Think about that.
I mean, you know how I'm the gatekeeper of the word unbelievable? Because when you say things, people go, oh, that's unbelievable. And you're like, no, I can believe that. I'm sitting here right now. I think that what I just saw, I can believe it, but it's bonkers, as I would say. Beanie, like the fact that they were so undisciplined, 9 penalties, 75 yards, and still find a way, what does that say about them?
I mean, it speaks to the character of this football team, that they're a gritty team. They've been through the ringer already this season. You know, we talk about how they lost to Oregon, how it came down to the wire, how they had some miscues in that football game. And then you go back and you look at the Michigan game and the exact same thing. They were out physical. They had miscues, guys playing out of position, but they found a way to figure out an identity, and that's playing together and finding a way to win when it matters most. I mean, that just speaks to the culture of the football team and the revamping and the awakening that this team has went through this football season. You know, hats off to Ryan Day for getting this team to buy in and not get down. I think we saw in weeks prior to where things weren't going their way, they kind of got down and went in the low, and they would have lost this game if they were the same team before that they were earlier in the season. But now they're completely different. This team is motivated and understands that, you know what, this is a 60-minute football game. You can't allow one play to dictate the rest of this football game.
This was their most penalized game of the entire season.
Wow.
9 for 75. And you and I are watching this, and it's about 10 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. They didn't run the ball at all during this drive. It's 4th and 2. You say, Ryan Day, Chip Kelly, run the ball. Will Howard listens to you, 18 yards, he gets tripped up by the turf monster, but then they score right there to make it 21-14. You go, okay, they got this figured out. And then the cherry on top with Jack Sawyer.
Yes.
But that late game execution is the separation of why they are in the Natty.
You know, sometimes as an offensive play caller, they get caught up in the moment. You know what I mean? And most offensive play callers, Beanie, you know this, they're egocentric. You know, if you run the football on 1st down and get 6 yards, you should run the football on 2nd down. It's 2nd and 4, but what do? They throw the football. So when you look at the flow of the game, I'm hollering, run the football.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn. Ngày hôm nay là một ngày mây trắng nắng vàng. Mình sẽ đi tô màu những hoa quả này, con vật, đồ vật, vân vân. Mình sẽ tô rất chi là đẹp cho các bạn xem nhé. Và các bạn đừng quên hãy cho mình một lượt like và một lượt đăng ký kênh để ủng hộ mình. Mình cảm ơn các bạn rất là nhiều. Và bây giờ mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn đi tô màu nào.
Mình đi tô màu như vậy.